Hello everyone, welcome to Energenic. For those of you that don't know, we created our character versus series where we put two similar characters against each other in a one-on-one battle. Now we kicked off this series comparing Homelander and Omni-Man to Superman, and this got us thinking, which DC comic book characters could defeat Superman? Superman has surpassed simple comic book popularity and is arguably the most well-known Western fictional character. One of the elements that has made the Man of Steel so popular is his overwhelming strength. While Superman is very strong, he is not as unbeatable as most people think. There are a lot of comic books, adaptations, video games, and other media that have proven that Clark has faced stronger rivals, and even within the ranks of the good guys, there are some that have a chance at beating him. So in this video, and in no particular order, we will provide you with a list of 20 DC characters who can defeat him. And to make this list even more interesting, all of these characters can do it without the use of Kryptonite. There's no better way to start this list than with the creature that canonically defeated and killed Superman. While it took its life in the process, Doomsday has bragging rights as one of the few beings in existence to have killed the Man of Steel. Doomsday was an experiment that was made ages ago across the galaxy, and it can adapt to anything that kills it. So if Doomsday is burnt alive, it can come back with fire immunity, making it an extremely difficult enemy to put down permanently. It took everything Superman had to defeat it because Doomsday was physically stronger and both characters died in the process. Doomsday is not the most complex of characters and in terms of storytelling would rank low among Superman villains, but there is no denying that he got the job done when facing the last son of Krypton. Captain Marvel and Superman's levels of strength have always been a hot topic among comic book fans, and the former has always had a bit of an edge over the latter. It has been stated time and time again that the Man of Steel has a weakness to magic, which is the core of Captain Marvel's strength. While the Kingdom Come story is not canon in DC's main continuity, it was a very good example of what could happen if these two characters ever faced each other. The Ruler of Apocalypse is one of the most iconic comic book villains of all time, and his power is a very good reason for that perspective. Whenever Darkseid is on the page or the screen, there is a very good chance that something devious is about to happen. Darkseid has always been a huge threat to Superman and the rest of the DC heroes. Such is his strength that it often requires the best efforts of the Justice League just to cast him away, since the Ruler of Apocalypse is so powerful that he can't be defeated for good. Superboy Prime is one of the most powerful versions of Superman in the multiverse, and he was such a threat that not even two Supermen were enough to defeat him, and he had to be affected by a red sun just to weaken him. Superboy Prime was an extremely dangerous threat during the Infinite Crisis and Sinestro Core War events, so it makes a lot of sense that he would be enough to defeat the Man of Steel in a one-on-one bout. Hal Jordan turning into Parallax has been retconned over the years, but the fact remains that he is a lot more powerful than the Hal Jordan we've come to know and love. A confirmation of how strong this version of Hal Jordan was is during the events of Zero Hour. In this storyline, Hal defeated Superman with ease. During the mid-90s, Hal had descended into madness and became a villain after being possessed by Parallax. As Parallax, he was about to rewrite time itself, and this is something that forced a lot of different DC heroes to work together just to put an end to him. Admittedly, this is one of those cases where there can be room for debate. It has been confirmed over the years in the comics that Martian Manhunter is as physically strong as Superman, but what gives him the edge over the Man of Steel is the different abilities at his disposal. Martian Manhunter has telepathy, telekinesis, can turn invisible, has Martian vision, and phasing. Therefore, all of these abilities can be extremely useful to weaken Superman and give him the win. Doomsday Clock was a very controversial creative decision by the people of DC Comics, due to it including the Watchmen characters in the universe's canon. Be that as it may, it did make Dr. Manhattan part of the DC universe and showed how powerful he is to most of the characters in this reality. Superman couldn't defeat Dr. Manhattan through physical means, but rather through challenging his ideals and values, which serves as a meta-commentary on comic book writing. Regardless, if this battle was to the death, Dr. Manhattan could manipulate reality itself and disintegrate Clark if he wanted to. The truth about the Phantom Stranger is that he rarely ever engages with the events taking place in the DC universe. He is not a figure who is bound to influence said events because he is a greater being, but he does have the power to make a difference if he has to do something. Phantom Stranger's extreme knowledge of magic and manipulation of dimensions would be a massive challenge for Superman. He can manipulate reality and perform transmutation, thus giving the Man of Steel no chance to survive their encounter. Dr. Fate's knowledge of magic is of the highest caliber, and as mentioned earlier with Captain Marvel, that is something that would affect Superman greatly. Dr. Fate has many powers and abilities, but the ability to heal any form of wound would give him an edge in a battle with Superman. Hypnosis, teleportation, dimensional travel, and divination are only some of the most notorious abilities that Dr. Fate has at his disposal. All of these abilities could give him a victory over Superman, especially if they were executed in tandem. It is very difficult to imagine the Spectre punishing someone like Superman, considering the latter's inherent goodness, but if it had to happen, he has more than enough to beat the Man of Steel. After all, the Spectre is the physical representation of the wrath of God. The Spectre can become intangible, is immortal, has fear projection, is a near-divine entity, and can alter reality. All of these abilities would give him a massive edge over Superman if they ever fought each other. Captain Atom, in general, has been a very underrated and underutilized character throughout DC's history, but that doesn't stop him from being a literal nuke turned into a superhero, which is something that even someone like Superman would struggle against. This is a character who has superhuman strength, matter generation, almost endless stamina, regeneration, atomic transmutation, and energy projection. Captain Atom's power has been brought up time and time again and is something that could prove to be pivotal in a battle with Superman. As mentioned in previous cases, Superman has an inherent weakness to magic that a lot of characters can exploit, with Satana perhaps being one of the best examples of this. She was a part of the Justice League in the 80s and also a member of the Justice League Dark a few years ago, but she remains a fairly underrated character. Satana has the powers of molecular reconstruction, astral projection, telekinesis, elemental control, teleportation, dimensional travel, mental manipulation, and a lot more. It's very likely that Superman would have his hands full in a fight with Satana. John Constantine knows his way around many different spells and abilities that make him a very interesting challenger to Superman. The character has gone through a lot of different dark ordeals, giving him knowledge of several dark arts in the process. The only problem in this potential conflict is that Constantine is too much of a wild card, which is why it's difficult to imagine how he would perform in a battle with Superman. But if he is focused on winning, he has a very good chance of doing just that. Most comic book fans know that this choice is self-explanatory. The AntiMonitor was the main villain of the Crisis on Infinite Earths event in the mid-80s, which led to the destruction of DC's multiverse and the creation of a unified universe, which shows how powerful this entity is. Several Supermen were not enough to deal with the AntiMonitor, and it required most heroes of the multiverse to contribute to put an end to his madness, so he could make quick work of just one version of the Man of Steel. It is difficult to describe the presence when taking into account the entirety of DC's lore, but it's the franchise version of God. It is omnipotent, omnipresent, and has control over the entirety of creation and reality, including the multiverse. So I think we can all agree that Superman doesn't have a chance here, right? Now this is one very interesting pick. Power Girl is an older, more experienced version of Supergirl, and she has proven to be, as her name suggests, a powerhouse in her own right throughout the years. Would that be enough to defeat Superman? Most comics have stated that she is stronger than Clark, although this is one of those situations that is also open for debate. Be that as it may, she's a very good candidate to defeat Superman, and she would at least give him a run for his money. Flash in general is one of the most underrated characters in fiction when it comes to power scaling, since a lot of people don't fully consider the nature of the Speed Force. It's the source of energy of the speedsters in the DC universe, but is also an actual place where they can go, and they are at risk of losing their humanity in the process if they don't know how to handle it. Wally West is a Flash who has mastered the Speed Force the most and is canonically the fastest Scarlet Speedster. He could easily pick Superman up and throw him into the Speed Force, thus consuming the Man of Steel's individuality in that place. Of course, if Flash did this, there would also be no stories to tell, but if he wanted to, he could do it. These are two different versions of Kyle Rayner, but since they are the two moments where he reached the absolute pinnacle of his powers, it made sense to put them together. And regardless of the place they have, he has enough power to defeat Superman in either form. Kyle had Ion, the physical embodiment of will in the early 2000s, and mastered the emotional spectrum to become the White Lantern in the mid-2010s, having enough power to become one of the strongest individuals in the DC universe. He became a lot more than just a normal hero, so he could make quick work of Superman. General Zod and Superman have faced each other so many times across different media that it has become a DC classic at this point. And while the Man of Steel has had the upper hand on most occasions, Zod shouldn't be underestimated since he can defeat Superman from time to time. This one is probably the most dubious since Zod has been defeated by Superman in some battles, but the former has also won his fair share as well. Therefore, much like Power Girl, this one is also up for debate. The fact that Mr. Mxyzptlk can only be defeated by saying his name backwards says a lot. He as a character is a product of a different era, where comics were not that focused on power scaling, but he still has enough magical abilities to warp reality and destroy Superman if he wanted to. The thing about this character is that he prefers torturing Superman rather than killing him, which is why the latter usually has enough time to come up with a strategy. But if the villain was fighting Superman to the death, he is very likely to win. Thank you for taking the time to watch this video. How did you like this video, and did your favorite character make this list? Let me know by leaving a comment below. While you're down there, be sure to give this video a like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell so you never miss out on another one of our videos. If you'd like to see more content from us in the meantime, check out one of the 2 videos that are on your screen right now. Thank you so much for watching, and we hope to see you in the next video.